to have you here again for our second tasting today for the Rasta Morris rum. I guess I'll just, do you have a presentation you wish to present or just speak?
I made a presentation, there's just the Trinidad is not in it.
Okay, no issue.
But I'll talk a bit like that about it.
Okay, so I've let you share the screen, so you may share your screen if you wish.
Okay, perfect.
And the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. Have you got a particular order, guys? For tasting?
Well, you are the one who's calling the shots. So you tell us what you want, and we will do it according to your preferred.
Perfect. Then let's maybe start with the Biel with the white label. You guys can see my screen now?
Yes, but if you can make it like perfect.
Like this?
Perfect.
Okay. So Israel means... My Hebrew is very bad.
What's the first one?
The first one is the first one is this one. The white label Rasta Morris Biel Ombre.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were starting with number 3 on our placement.
So this is the rum Biel Ombre. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
It's called Ombre because it's only 2 years of age, so we can call it old rum, but it's not really very, very old yet. This is a sample I tasted at Marie Galante in Biel. More theoretical information and pictures of Biel will come in the second side when we're talking about the second Biel, because then we have more time, I think. This Biel, it's called Biel Ombre. And it's called Biel Ombre Premium. And premium means a Biel double distillation. So it means a first distillation on a column still, a second distillation on a pot still. Not all Biels get 2 distillations. And before I forget, I have to say Biel is a rum agricole. So rum agricole means distilled based on sugar, on pure sugarcane juice. So not on molasses, but pure sugarcane juice. This one had a maturation of 6 months in a foeder, which is a gigantic tank of 10,000 liters at the distillery. We will see pictures later. And it had a maturation of 2 years in an ex-bourbon barrel. So this rum was on the same boat as a quite notorious bottling I did in Belgium, which I call Blanc Cassé. So in French, it means Blanc Cassé. It means white, but not really white. So what happened, I had bought a white rum, and they had promised me at Biel to send it in a cask, so in a 4th or 5th fill cask, completely used, so it wouldn't give any color. And the cask arrived, but it almost got brown. So it was still a rum blanc because it didn't mature, but because of the transport cask, which was more active than I thought, we had to call it Blanc Cassé. So many people have been laughing about it, and it was a hit. So sometimes I hear about the maturation dynamique, which is maturation in small casks. So they bring the casks on a boat, on a sailing boat from Marie Galante or from Guadeloupe to France. And that's called maturation dynamique because in the small casks and all the time in contact with the cask and the rum is clutching in the cask, they call it dynamique because then the rum gets more interaction with the wood, which is correct. But then they also say it gets a bit more salty and a bit more medicinal and a bit more maritime aromas because of the seawater going on the cask and the salt penetrating the cask. But that story is complete and utter marketing. I almost was going to say an ugly word, but there's ladies listening, so I have to be careful a bit. The molecule natrium chloride, which is the molecule which consists salt, is physically too big to ever come into the cask, so ever penetrate the wood. So technically spoken, if you would drop a cask into the sea and leave it there for 20 years, even then, not one molecule of salt would enter the cask. So that's why I'm always laughing a bit with the dynamic maturation. And sometimes on festivals, I say this Biel Ambré also had maturation dynamique because it came over the sea in the cask. So it was oh, sorry, it was my bottle falling because of me explaining. So that cask was also in a boat and also weaving around and also having the same movements as the one on the sailing boat. So technically, it's also maturation dynamique. And then I say it's also sailing boat. I said no. It was a huge big cargo boat, but the movements it's basically the same. So if you're in a huge cargo boat or in a little sailing boat, it's basically the same. Let's have a wee sip. I just opened myself a new bottle, but because this is my daily sipper, in fact, this is the rum. If I just feel like a rum for watching television, this is the one I go to because it's so easily drinkable. It's so fresh. It's so sorry, my presentation already went to Foursquare in Venezuela because of my bottle falling. Sorry.
It's really surprising. It's so nice after so few months in the cask.
Exactly.
Really,
but it's not a few months in the cask, it's 6 months in the fooder, and then almost 2 years in the ex-bourbon. So after all, it has 2.5 years. But what you say is correct.
Yeah,
for me, it's
it's still very young.
Still very young, but already giving many aromas, many personality, and still the true Biel style and the true Agricole style coming out here. Because also I have to say, Biel is a distillery where they only start really maturing in casks on a regular basis. If you see bigger distilleries like Foursquare, like Diamond, and like Demerara, which is the same as Diamond, and like Angostura, of which we have a rum later on, those guys have 10,000s of casks literally stored at their distillery. I believe Foursquare has 40,000. I believe Diamond has 50,000 or more. So those are huge numbers. If you go to Biel, there's maybe 500 casks lying there. So negotiating to buy one is very difficult with those guys. And the problem is they tell the price. And if you agree, it's okay. And if you don't agree, it's also okay. But then leave the cask where it is and then they say bye-bye to you. So it is very easy negotiating with Biel. Also, I just told rum agricole is made based on sugarcane juice, on the pure sugarcane juice. Well, at Biel, they literally bring the sugarcane, the sugarcane after the harvesting. They bring it with wooden chariots pulled by oxes. Literally, the old system. That's how they bring the sugarcane to the distillery. It's amazing to see.
Why are they doing it like this? You know,
just to have I think first of all, as they do in many companies, they do it like that because it's always been done like that.
Okay.
And they don't think any further, or they don't wish to change many things. And also, yeah, sometimes you have to go there to really understand. For example, on the island Marie-Galante, on a Sunday, nothing happens. So they're they're Christian, and they're very how do you say, they're very pratiquer la religion, Yves. Comment ça se dit en anglais?
They are conservative. They are going to the church.
Exactly. So on Sundays they don't work, and nothing happens there.
It's like Petah Tikva on Saturday, you know, the same.
Sorry?
Petah Tikva any day.
Ran will tell you about it.
But in fact, this is mainly, I'm using this one to open up. Normally I'm using Maman Brigitte for opening up, but I don't think Maman Brigitte is in Israel already.
No, not yet.
So we have to use by necessity this one for opening up, but maybe it's already a bit at 52% of alcohol. It comes in, this rum comes in my warehouse at 64% of alcohol. The 64 is way too heavy and way too peppery. That's why we decided to put it to 52% and on 52. For me, it's easily drinkable. It's highly drinkable without attacking, without the alcohol being too aggressive or the alcohol too much attacking the palate. Don't know if you agree on that.
I think it's lovely.
Really nice.
Also, you see this label is white and the other labels are black. The difference is all Rasta Morris products are never chill filtered, are never sugared, so never any sugar added, never any artificial coloring, and also no dilution on the black ones. This white one, we changed the label because this one has been diluted. All the other ones will be the black ones, so that's completely hardcore rum, no chill filtration, no coloring, no sugaring, and no dilution. You'll see often it's very, very high alcohols, but the tricky part is selecting casks with high alcohol, of which the alcohol is well integrated in the rum, and in which the rum is carrying the alcohol instead of the alcohol dominating the rum. So it's not always very easy.
So Bert, before we continue, I have a question regarding rum, because you told us about whiskey, how you started liking whiskey, collecting whiskey, but how did you start your love affair with rum?
Well, I started by not liking rum. I started by not appreciating rum, because I also only knew the commercial rums and the rums that weren't very, the popular rums, the commercial popular rums. And I always found those too sweet and too sugared and too sticky, and it just wasn't my thing. Until a day in 2016, where I had a meeting in Belgium. We have a big rum festival in Spa, in the eastern part of Belgium. And I had a meeting there with the whiskey supplier. And so I passed my meeting, and after the meeting, I said, I was there with a friend even. I said, okay, now I'm here. We're here now. We've been driving 3 hours to get here. So now while we're here, we can as well taste some rums and taste some wee things before going back home. And we've been tasting some rums, and some of the rums I tasted were very good. I liked a lot. And all of a sudden, I tasted a Santa Lucia from 2004 from Plantation, of which I said, wow, this is just magnificent. I want bottles of this one. And sometimes it's just a question of finding first rum or first whiskey you really like, and then you can start building on the rest. So this Saint Lucie I liked a lot. And then some weeks later, by coincidence, I got an offer for a parcel of whiskey casks. And in that parcel, there was 2 casks of rum. And there was a Foursquare 2004, and the other one was a Caroni 1997. So Caroni is for rum what Port Ellen is in whiskey. So Caroni is a closed distillery ever since 2001. And Caroni, oh, I almost said Corona. And Caroni is very sought after and is fetching high prices on auctions and on different websites and stuff. So I tasted them, loved them, and bought them. And in fact, that was the actual birth of Rasta Morris. The fact that I bought those 2 casks in a parcel of whiskey. I bought them together with some Kalilas, I think. It wasn't that parcel for the record. What was I going to say? This is not good. I'm losing my text.
Okay.
So, and then a friend of mine, a girl, was working in Belgium, and that girl, her father was the owner of the Vaval distillery on Haiti. And she was working as a brand ambassador for a well-known Belgian whiskey and rum importer and distributor. And I asked that girl, I said, Itzel, can you explain me and learn me about rum, because I want to know it a bit deeper, and I want to get to know the different styles and the different types of rum before myself really launching and hosting tastings and stuff, because I want to understand it better myself before going deeper into everything. And then we had 4 consecutive Monday evenings along the highway E17, Kortrijk Ghent, there was a restaurant slash hotel where you could sit down and have meetings and rent meeting space. And those 4 Mondays, she told me, okay, now you buy that, and every time, and now you buy that. And every Monday we arrived there with 12, 15 bottles of rum with us for tasting. And the first evening, I believe we had English style rums, then Spanish style rums, then agricole style rums, so the French style rums. And then afterwards, the last one, we had just some great stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm still replying to the same question. And all of a sudden, she came out. So in the last evening of the great stuff, she came out with a sample of which I hadn't seen what it was. And she poured us a glass. I tasted that one. I said, Itzel, wow. I said, what did you just pour me? Because this is just, I was going to say a heavy word again, just fabulous. And she said, this is a Biel. I said, Biel? What's Biel? And she said, Biel, it's a distillery on Marie-Galante. Marie-Galante, who's Marie-Galante? And she said, Marie-Galante is an island which is next to Guadeloupe and which is in fact a part of Guadeloupe. I said, I want to go there. We have to go there. I want to visit those guys. Is it family owned? Does it belong to a big corporation or is it family owned? Oh, she says it's family owned. I said, we have to go there. Make me an appointment. I take the plane. I go there. I want to visit those guys. And maybe I should keep the rest of my story for when we're tasting the second Biel, or else I won't have anything to tell on the second one. You agree, guys, or what do I do?
It's okay. We can continue it with it later.
But Biel, let me help you. Please remind me. I was coming to the point of where we had our first meeting at Biel. There I have to continue my story. So, Ambry, any conclusions on this one, or any meanings, or any opinions, or any pluses or minuses?
Surprisingly good for this one. Really liked it. Yeah.
I think for only being 2.5 years old, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, it is. Very, very drinkable. You can drink a lot of that.
Exactly. That's I call this card players rum, and card players rum means the same thing as card players whiskey. If you put one bottle of this on the table, 4 glasses, 4 friends, you're playing cards. By the end of the evening, there's nothing left in the bottle. It's easily highly drinkable, and I must say personally, I like this one a lot. Besides, I'm tasting batch 2, guys. You're having batch 1, but I'm only having bottles of batch 2 here. Can you see this? Is this clear?
I think I will have to order some of them.
You might have to, Yves. There won't be enough for everybody, I'm afraid.
But I have batch 2. Oh no, I have batch 1.
You have batch 1, Yves. You have batch 1.
Yeah.
And also batch 2 will be a bit cheaper, or a bit better in price, because I shouldn't tell that yet, Yves, I'm afraid, no?
Yeah, you can speak.
Because batch 1 was 1 cask. It was 1 cask, and batch 2 we had 1,000 liter coming over. So batch 2 is bigger, and there are some fixed costs which can be amorti, comment ça dit en anglais?
Yeah.
Or Hebrew or whatever.
Yeah. I forgot the word right now. Amorti. I will look it up.
The same costs can be divided over more liters, if you see what I mean.
I will look it up. Can't find it anyway. On to the next one.
Next one, Venezuela, 11 years old.
Okay, this is drum number 1 on our placemat. Number 1.
I forgot a spittoon, guys. I'm having to drink. I only have 2 glasses. I have to drink it all because if not, I have to end my tasting. So I think it'll get more and more funny the further we get into the tasting. So the Venezuela.
Just a minute, Bert, I'm gonna say to the guys, אנחנו עוברים לבקבוק, זה בקבוק מספר 1, דוגמית מספר 1 אצלכם. אז התחלנו ב3 ועכשיו עוברים ל1. You can continue, Bert, sorry for the interrupt.
No worry. No worry. So the first one we tasted was a French style rum. So agricole rum style. The one we are having here is a Venezuela rum, which basically means it's a Spanish style rum. The Spanish style rums are more sweet, are more buttery. They have in many situations they have the Solera system, which means they work with an average age. So if they have a cask of 12 years old, or then so the oldest casks are below and the youngest ones are on top, and they fill the young casks, and at all times goes down until they get it out of the older casks. So then they get at an average age, but then sometimes they put, let's say if they're mixing casks of 1 year and of 5 years and of 6 years and of 8 years, they put age 8 years, while in the blend you have 1, 2, 3, 4, but then they put 8 years on the label. And in fact, that system is what sometimes throws away the credibility of rum, because many people know that, and there's no fixed rules for rum, so they can use average age. In whiskey, it's simple. The youngest age in the blend is the age you put on the label. So if you're having whiskey of 30 years old and 25 years old and 28 years old and 27 years old and 25 years old again, and you put 1 glass of 3 years old in the blend, you have to legally call it a 3 years old whiskey. And rum, it's different. You can or use the youngest one, or use the oldest one, or use an average. So I think if they really want to go to quality, if they really want to go to the hardcore lovers and to the lunatics and maniacs about spirits like ourselves, then I think they have to be more serious and more credible and more transparent in that. For us, it's simple. It's always single casks. So a single cask is very simple. Distillation date is the age, or makes the age. We don't do Solera, we don't mix. So we only work with plain single casks that have been maturing for the time we're announcing on the label. Any first opinions already? Have you been smelling, or have you been?
I'm adding a few drops of water.
Yeah.
I think I find a lot.
It's really, really strong and really, really sweet.
Really sweet, but I have to say,
yeah,
so
it's very much.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's very sugary. I mean, you can feel the sugar all over. It's really sweet.
But there's no added sugar.
Right. Yeah.
Very, very rich indeed, but I like it. It's very.
I have to say, this one at many of our tastings, this is a rum that it always surprises. So many people don't expect this from a Venezuela rum. So Spanish style rums are often quite buttery in the mouth, so have a very oily, buttery mouthfeel. So if you're swirling your tongue around your mouth while tasting, it should feel quite greasy, quite unctuous, which means mouth filling, very round, very sweet, which is also Spanish style, and very dark. I mean, if you look at the color of this bottle, I think we could say it's dark indeed. But this also comes probably from use of new oak, new casks.
Which distillery has distilled this one?
Well, I'm not allowed to tell you, or not allowed to write it down, but it's CACD.
Okay.
Is this pot still rum? Or is it a mix of column and pot? Column.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can't share too much about the distillery because I want to remain getting casks supplied to me. Any opinions about this one?
I have a few friends who bought this bottle, and I have to say that they finished the bottle quite fast. It's
That's good news for us, Yves. That's good news for us.
That's good news. Yes.
Looks sold out on the site as well, Yves.
Excuse me?
It looks that it is sold out on your site, this one.
I'm not sure. Is it? It could be.
I have some left. If you want more, I have some left, but you have to be quick, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it is sold out. No, maybe it says out of stock.
Let me check. Could be.
But you have to know this one is 63.1%, and that's something you would never ever say without knowing it.
So Bert, can you tell us about, why this distillery is not, does not want does not want people to know that they're selling you casks? What's the logic behind it?
Well, there's quite some distilleries, like for example, Angostura or Trinidad Distillers Limited also doesn't want it. We're going to have that one later in the tasting. But mainly they do that because they don't want independents to spoil their name. I mean, if independents start throwing sugar in rums of them, or really ruining them or bottling them the way they don't want it and their name is on it, it can also harm their reputation. It can harm reputation of a distillery. That's the main reason they don't want independents to use their name mainly. For the other distillery, Angostura, it's very difficult to know it's Angostura because you have to call it Trinidad rum, but on Trinidad there's only one distillery left, so very difficult to know which one it is, of course.
Okay.
I think I don't know the exact reason. Apology. I don't know the exact reason, but I think it has to do with the fact that they don't want us to jeopardize their name or their brand or their whatever. I think it has mainly to do with that.
Okay.
Usually, independent bottlers are doing very good bottlings. In let's say in whiskey or other spirits. And are bringing positive things to the brand. Surprising that in the rum they think just the opposite.
Well, in whiskey as well, some distilleries also don't want you to mention. I mean, now there's many secret Speysides around. There's many secret Islas around. I have 2 casks of Collier 2008, of which I may not say it's Collier 2008. And I think basically it has the same reason. Like Lafroy, you can also not name. Glenfarclas, you may not name. There's many that forbid you also, Yves. It's not only in rum.
Yeah, in whiskey, it's very, 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 very popular not to allow independent bottlers to bottle your whiskey. I was thinking maybe, in rum, they're not that choosy, but it looks like it's...
I think that because they're afraid that it's too good. It's just the opposite.
Yeah,
it's also possible.
I drank this rum and it was very good without sugar. It was nice. Why don't you also remove the sugar from your rum, and then they will have to remove it?
Well, once you add it, you have to redistill to remove the sugar, I'm afraid.
No, I'm not saying about that. I'm saying that,
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I was joking, sorry.
It's okay. I guess usually when you buy the big brands, they are the ones that are being added sugar, not the independent.
Some big boys ruin their brand on their own, and that what you say can be true. But let's say they're afraid that we would bottle it not as they would want us to bottle it. Let's stick on that one. But I don't know exact reason, so people don't tell me why. They just say you can't use the name or not allowed to use the name, and then you don't do it because you don't want to get into trouble, of course.
Okay, so when we were talking about whiskey, Bert,
yeah,
we were talking about how it is getting harder getting some casks from some distilleries.
Mm-hmm.
Are you experiencing the same with rum when rum is getting more popular, or like the same?
Oh, it's very simple. You still can get the casks. It just costs more. Like, for example, the first Caroni we've been bottling was cask number RM001. So we started with a big Caroni, which I loved, which is for me amongst my top 5 Caronis I ever tasted even. And let's say 6 or 8 months later, I was offered 4 more casks of Caroni. So I got 4 samples of Caroni rums, and they were less good. They were significantly less good. And they were, I believe they were 60% more expensive. And I'm not exaggerating. And then I said, no, guys, thank you, I don't do it. But he said, okay, but it's Caroni, it will sell. I said, yeah, I know it will sell, but it has my name on it. And I mean, every bottle, it's like kind of my baby going out of the warehouse. And we do always very small volumes with small turnouts. So people know the style of Rasta Morris and Rasta Morris. And if then you go and think commercially and you start disappointing your public, then it's very easy to break a name or to ruin your own brand.
Yeah.
And that's why I refused to buy those other Caronis, although I knew they would sell. But that's just not our how should I say it? It's not how our reason of being. That's not how we want
philosophy. It's not your philosophy.
Exactly. That's the word I was looking for. It's not the philosophy. So for me, first of all, we have to like it ourselves. And if we don't like it, no, thank you. And then if, like this Caroni, they offer you the cask and it's completely not the same level, but it costs 70% more. No, thank you, forget it. I know it'll sell. If that replies to the question. But you can get the casks, they just get very quickly more and more expensive. The prices are going out through the roof now.
Yeah, you feel that rum prices are very much nearing whiskey prices.
Exactly. And some even go over. If you see Hamden, if you see Caroni, if you see some other guys, they're even getting over it. They're depositing the whiskey prices. To go back to this Venezuela one, I remember an evening tasting and my best friend was with me. And I believe we had 12 or 13 samples, and there was 2 Venezuelas and 2 Nicaraguas. And there were some other big names in it. And we ended up buying the 2 Venezuelas, buying the 2 Nicaraguas, because those were the best of the whole tasting. And the other ones just weren't good enough, because we had said, let's start with Nicaragua and Venezuela because it's small names and maybe we can discover something. And I was tasting this, I was like, wow, this is good. And after Nicaragua and Venezuela, all the other ones were disappointing. So if they can't stand up to this one, then they're not worth of getting bought and bottled, I would believe. Because at Rasta Morris, it's all about taste and appreciation. Not volume. We're not looking for bottling many things or bottling typical things. We're just going for good casks of which we're convinced ourselves. I think that's important. Any further impressions on the Venezuela? Is it getting cold in Israel, guys? I see almost no one on the terrace.
It's getting cold, yes.
A bit cooler, yeah. It's not really cold, you know.
Yeah, Nikolai is on the terrace.
You can imagine.
Nikolai went inside. He was too cold, looks like.
Oops. Well, that was for me. I thought it was great doing tastings for guys in Israel because you were on the terrace having cigars and having fun with the friends, and I was here in rainy, cold Belgium in my office. I was jealous, guys. I can't wait to be with you, to join you, and to have a tasting and reel, to have some fun and to have some real jokes and stories. Because being here and talking to a computer, it's not the way I prefer doing my tastings. But hey, no. It's Corona times. I think it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who says Venezuela, I don't like it, it's not my style, it's not my kind of rum?
I love it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't like it. It's really not my style of rum. I think it's a bit too sweet and too strong. Yeah, too sweet, too strong, and not quite balanced actually.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a matter of style. It's not a matter
Exactly.
of quality. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a matter of personal taste, a personal preference. It's yep, I see what you mean.
Yeah, but thank you.
small.
You prefer the Biel then? You prefer the Biel over the Nicaragua, over the Venezuela?
Actually, I didn't like the bill also, but I'm looking forward to taste the next 3 drams.
Okay, perfect. Let's go for that.
Yeah, but it's a matter of taste, you know, it's and habits basically.
Thank you for your honesty. Anyway, I want to learn from every opinion, and every opinion makes me wiser and makes me more thinking about more things.
Yeah, okay. I can see what you mean. Actually, I did feel a bit regarding the bill that it was a bit diluted, but maybe it's like a first impression. I left another half a dram to taste it next time.
See, the bill was the first dram, and being first on a tasting is a very ungrateful position, because before we have been eating or having a coffee or having a beer or having whatever, and our taste buds are not used to rum yet. So that's also, I mean, on defense of the biel, I also want to tell, it's not the one I normally use the first one in a tasting. Okay. But let's see for the second one. Maybe that one will please you more.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Next time we will not let Ori participate, so it will not be a problem.
Yes, thank you, Gal. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate your honesty.
You know, this is one of my, this is my philosophy. Okay, let's continue.
Next in the line, I would propose to taste the Foursquare. The 2005 Foursquare. Put it here somewhere. I just have to see where
it is.
So,
we're doing number 5, Mr. Hamesh Ababato. Okay.
Foursquare is a Barbados-based distillery, so there's a typical English style of rum. On that very site, where Foursquare is today, there's a long history of sugar production. Ever since 1720, they can find documents which state that sugar production already was there in 1720. Surprisingly, the distillery only reopened in 1996 by the Seal family, which is today also still managing directors of the distillery. So Richard Seal is today the CEO, but his son Christian is also already in the company. The Seal family can trace back their roots in Barbados since 1650. So there's a R Seal blend rum, so which is also very famous, that comes from their family for 5 generations already. And since 1820, those guys live on the island and have been based on the island like for 5 generations already, since 1820. The distillery is very clean, and very many green efforts are made. So they are recycling all their water. They're themselves purifying all their water. They work at many heat exchangers so that the heat doesn't get lost. And with their redundant energy and the redundant electricity they make with the heat and with the water, they also go and power some local facilities. So they're very much into the green efforts and into the clean efforts. The distillery is very clean like that, but also literally very clean. So the distillery is always cleaned and very proper and very well maintained. If you see other Caribbean distilleries next to that, sometimes there's a big difference, because what I have seen already in the Caribbean can be surprising, can be very typical. What's also funny is that they don't use any Barbados molasses. All the molasses they use are imported from Guyana, which can be interesting to keep in mind, or which can be interesting to retain this one. And at Foursquare, they both use pot and column stills. And as I understood, ever since last year, I think they're also testing with agricole rums. So they've been using sugarcane juice as well. So now they're testing with also the sugarcane juice-based rums. I don't know if they can call it agricole. They're not in France because the French guys tend to be a bit chauvinistic, if that's English. Is that English? Chauvinist?
Also Hebrew.
Yeah.
I think it's like international.
Foursquare. Sometimes people tell me all Foursquares are the same, and it's true. Foursquare is very recognizable. This fruitiness, this distinctive citrus touches, it's very recognizable. But it's a profile I always like, and it's good or better. So it's very recognizable, but always very good. I was just talking about Maman Brigitte, which is our blended rum we're having since 2.5 years now. And the backbone of Maman Brigitte is 8 years old Barbados rum distilled at Foursquare. And if you taste Maman Brigitte, it's the Barbados, the Foursquare, which always is dominant, which always is very present, which always is there. Also, if bartenders use Maman Brigitte in cocktails, even in the cocktail, I can taste the Foursquare base of the Maman Brigitte. Let's pour a dram.
This is a bourbon cask, right?
Yeah, this is fresh bourbon. But they're using many bourbon casks in the Caribbean for the same reason the Scots are using it. For the American bourbon industry, it's redundant, so it's kind of garbage you have to throw away because they may not use the cask 2 times. And the guys in the Caribbean say, okay, thank you, we can use your cheap casks to a good price. So it's the same reason. But let's say 90% of all rum is also matured on ex-bourbon wood.
Thank you.
So again, this is a completely totally different style as the 2 other ones, because the first one was the typical French style, second one was typical Spanish style, and here we're going to the typical English style. So we had the 3 styles and the 3 first rums already now.
Yeah, I feel that the Foursquares are really, well made, really clean. You can really not just clean about the distillery. Distillation is very rounded and
yeah. Well, that's because Richard Steele,
funky aromas.
Yeah.
Very precise.
But Richard Steele is a true maniac, and now he is working on making an appellation contrôlée for the Barbados rums. So he wants to really make everything an appellation contrôlée, so that they have cahier de charge, how do you say in English? So that they have to work according to certain principles and according to certain rules. And he wants the age statement to be well defined, and he wants to put everything in a clean cadre, he wants to put everything like this, so everybody's using the same measures and everybody is starting from the same basis. So he wants to make Barbados rum transparent, honest, and more correct towards consumers, which the Spanish rums mainly have got a bit less today. Oh, I thought I had some pictures of Foursquare here after, but I have.
Which other distilleries do you have in Barbados?
In Barbados, you have Foursquare, you have Malgay, you have the one that Plantation just bought, which is West Indies, and there's one more. So West Indies, Foursquare, Malgay, there's one more. Can you Google? Can you Google if there's one more? There's Malgay, there's West Indies, there's Foursquare, and one I'm forgetting.
Mount Gilboa.
Bert, Elad is saying that the name is Mount Gilboa of the 4th one.
How's it called?
Mount Gilboa.
Is that Mount Gay? So Mount
No.
Gay, I've been telling Mount
It's
Gay.
called Saint Nicholas, no?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
You're right, St. Nicholas.
That's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
And the other ones are Mount Gay, West Indies, and Foursquare. And West Indies has now been taken over by Plantation, and you have to know Plantation and Foursquare. It's open war between those two, so they don't like each other on social media. They're all the time being aggressive to each other, and between Plantation and Foursquare, it's not a good one. It won't get to a marriage, I think. Will there be any opinions on this one?
Yeah, Bert, if I may ask, I really like this one and the last one we tried, but I think both of them are like 63%, but this one feels much more stronger, although it feels like citrusy, for me at least. Any like something that creates this difference in how it feels in the taste, because both of them are.
That has to do with maturation, has to do with the wood influence, has to do with many things, but some things are not to be declared. Sometimes you have whiskies of 60%, which are not burning at all, and other ones at 46%, which are burning your throat. So sometimes you have to see it as an act of nature, I think, of the interaction of the wood with the rum or the whiskey, and maturation goes so well. Like with this one, it indeed is 63.6%, and for me, it's not burning at all. It's not alcoholic. The alcohol is not dominating. But yeah, sometimes that's the most tricky part for me with Rasta Morris in the selections, selecting casks of which the alcohol is there, but as I told before, it's integrated in the rum and not dominating it. And I think on this one, it worked.
Yeah, thank you.
But there's no rule to be made. You can't say, I mean, at any percentage, a rum can be good or well integrated, and at any percentage, it can be burning. You have the same with whiskeys. It's just about, I think it's mainly has to do with the cask and the maturation. But I'm not a scientist, so I can't declare everything till the end. And then if you can't declare, it's very nice to call it nature and to say it's how you say in English, it's how Mother Nature wanted it. Because also if you can declare everything, the romance is gone. And for me, this romance is a big part of the passion. Just getting all these things you can't declare, and the whiskey I've been experiencing, the more you know about it or the more you learn about it, the more you see that you don't know anything about it. And that's what makes it funny. I mean, in the beginning I was reading 2 books. I thought now I know it, and now I'm 25 years further and I'm still with my mouth open listening to some people in master classes who are telling things of which I say, wow. It's an eternal learning process. I can still remember the first Foursquare. So I just told about the 2 first casks I bought, which was a Caroni and a Foursquare. And on the label, you see Rasta Morris now. I had put Caroni in big and Foursquare in big for launching the Rasta Morris brand. And where you see Foursquare in little, there was written bottled by Rasta Morris. And all of a sudden, so those were launched. I had published pictures on Facebook, on the internet, everywhere. And all of a sudden, I get an email, it was a Facebook message, an angry Facebook message of a person called Richard Seal. And he said, I don't think it's very nice that you're abusing my trademark on your rum. I was like, what does he mean? I say, Rasta Morris is my trademark. I'm using it for some time now. So I didn't understand what he meant. And I sent the message to Itzel, so the lady of the Haiti rum. I said, Itzel, I have a guy, Richard Seal, who is now making a problem of the name. Do you know him? And he said, yeah, he is the CEO and the owner of Foursquare Distillery. I was like, oh shit. And I said, okay, Mr. Seal, can you tell me what the problem is? Because he says, yeah, Foursquare is too big and your name should be bigger and this and that. And I said, okay, Mr. Seal, I will adapt, and I will, for now, every label of Foursquare that will get produced for Rasta Morris, I will send you, and you will validate if yes or no it can be used. We've been speaking about that the first time we were exhibiting at the Spa Rum Festival, where I had been tasting my real good rum. So there I have been talking to him, and we've been agreeing like gentlemen. And let's say I sent him the labels afterwards, and we never have ever had any stories afterwards with him. But let's say it was an intense moment, especially since I didn't know who he was the first messages he sent me. That's also part of the learning process. Any other opinions on this one?
I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
It's a great Foursquare, and the ABV is indeed high, but really unnoticed, and you can feel the taste much better on this high strength, and it doesn't bite you.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Actually, this rum has all the qualities that I was missing in Venezuela, because it's sweet on sweet on sweet, and this has like nice spiciness to balance it, nice wood influence.
Yeah.
So this is actually what it was lacking in the Venezuela, because it was very one-dimensional, and this one much better. Very bad.
It's different.
I think it's the first time I've ever agreed with Nico. We never agree. Yeah.
Well, what it is as well, we now had examples of French style rum, Spanish style rum, and English style rum. So now everybody can determine for himself which style he likes the best. And for the future, you can maybe look more in that type of style. Like for Nikolai, you know you don't like the Spanish style.
Probably not. Yes.
So myself, I'm also not always very much friends with the Spanish style, but as Venezuela, I loved it, or I liked it a lot. Also, I have to do a bit more. Rasta Morris has to do a bit more than only my total preference, because if not, everything would be just Biel. I start calling Biel on tastings the Rolls Royce of the Caribbean. And some people start repeating that already. So I have to go on with that.
Why do you think it's such a Rolls Royce of the Caribbean, Bert? What makes you think that?
Because I like it.
Oh, that's the best reason.
I think, yeah, in the end, it's all a question of personal taste and of personal preference. And Biel is just, Biel was the first rum of which I really, really, really said, Jesus, wow, how good is this? And I have never forgotten about it. Also the experiences I had there, of which I will tell you later in the tasting. But it's mainly a question of my personal preference. If that
I
replies
have
your
to
question.
say, so far, it's been my favorite one in this tasting.
Sorry?
So far, it's been my favorite one in this tasting. Yeah, it was amazing for me.
Oh, we're only halfway.
I know.
Let's make it a good one. Thank you very much for the comment. Any further opinions on the Foursquare or on this style of rum?
Keep making more of it because it's very nice.
But this is the third one, I think, and there has been a fourth one, and now I will stop a bit because some people have been how do you say in English? Some people have been verweten in het Engels, hoe zeg je dat?
What, complaining?
Yeah, some people have been complaining there's too many Foursquares. So there's two 2004s There's one 2004, twice 2005, and one 2007. I don't know if you reserved in 2007, Eve.
I don't remember. This is the second Foursquare that we're bringing. There was one which was the last one. I don't think I brought. It was, I think, too expensive for me.
And 2007 was that?
Yeah.
Because that was a cask. I got the sample, and I tasted it, and I was like, Jesus Christ! I said, this is the best Foursquare I ever tasted. And then price went up twice. So I think other people have been bidding on the same cask as well. And it was expensive indeed, but it sold out in no time. But it was expensive indeed, and for me it was too expensive. So I'm not going to deal anymore with the guys I bought it from, because that's not my style of doing business. But I wanted to have that cask.
It's also a good reason.
Yeah, but then I can be stubborn, then, Eve.
Yeah.
And being stubborn, sometimes it's an expensive hobby, believe me.
We all know about this here in this tasting.
Sorry?
We all know, we all have the same problem here, that it's expensive habits.
Well, now I'll tell you more when we're tasting the first bill. But Foursquare, for me, I just love it. I'm crazy about the distillery. I'm crazy about all they're doing. They make such great things. And what it is, indeed, the style of Foursquare is always similar. It's always the same style and the same kind of rum, but it's always good. And you can never punish somebody with having a bad rum to drink, I think. Would be worse if it's always the same and it's always bad. That would be worse, I think. That happens in whiskey sometimes. But I may not say names now, or they shall kill me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I totally agree, because actually the tasting we did before was a Foursquare tasting.
Okay, and?
Yes, actually, and people loved it. It was very, very quality tasting. Actually, it's got me to buy one, and I'm not a very big room guy. And I see quite a spending spree in the future on that matter. So just provide Eve some more of that stuff, more of Foursquare in the future.
Foursquare is always good. I cannot say anything bad about them. It's always good.
I totally agree with you.
Richard Seal can be typical and he can be a bit special, but what he produces is amazing, always. I tell it's good or better. That's Foursquare. It's a bit like Kalila. It's more difficult to find a bad one than to find. It's more difficult to find a bad one than to find a good one, because they're all good. Kalila and whiskey is the same thing. It's more difficult to select a bad one than selecting a good one. Although some months ago, I told the guy, he said, "Would you want to taste my Kalila, Bert?" I said, "Yeah, please give me a glass." And he poured me the glass. I said, "Congratulations." Oh, he said, "Wow, why congratulations?" I said, "Because you succeeded in selecting a bad Kalila." I said, "You must be one of the first guys doing that." And he was angry with me. But I was I mean, Kalila is always good. Foursquare is always good. There's some distilleries which are like this. Okay, we can go on to the next one, or there's more questions about Foursquare?
I think we can continue, Bert.
Oh no, next one is Trinidad. Sorry, but this one is not in the presentation. Next one is the Trinidad. Trinidad is a very typical distillery.
Okay, so Trinidad is number 2. Number 2.
So Trinidad is not in my PowerPoint. Trinidad, I believe you guys have a 2004 one.
This is an unofficial Caroni, right? Or I hope so.
Sorry?
This is unofficial Caroni, right? As
No,
a
no,
joke.
no, no, no.
As a joke.
This is Angostura. This has never been Caroni. So Trinidad is a distillery. The Trinidad Caroni was a distillery which has been closed in 2001, which was well known for the very petrol-y, for the very fuel-like oily rums. This is Trinidad, and Trinidad is distilled at Trinidad Distillers Limited, TDL. The story starts with a Dr. Sigurd, who in 1824 in Bolivar in Venezuela. So Trinidad Angostura was actually founded in Venezuela in Bolivar. There, a Dr. Siebert had developed a drink, a kind of a bitter drink, of which he thought it was a medicine, or he sold it and he used it as a medicine. And he needed alcohol for making that. And the alcohol, he bought it at a local rum distillery. But in 1875, the company moved to Trinidad, mainly for fiscal reasons. Is it English? Fiscal reasons? For tax reasons. Yes. For paying less tax and stuff already.
Yes, it is. It's the right term.
Yeah, thank you. And they started a small factory in the port of Spain in Trinidad. They started a small factory for making their rums and their bitters, sorry, based on alcohols and based on alcohol, but they used rum to get that alcohol. When the guy died, he left it to his sons, and those guys made it bigger and bigger. Sorry, and changed the name to Angostura Bitters Limited on Trinidad now. And so after a while, they decided not buying the rums anymore for their bitters, but so they were buying that much that they decided on building an own distillery and producing those rums they needed for the alcohol for their bitters themselves. So this way they had more control over their raw materials and more control over the rums, but as well they could start making and commercializing their rums. It goes so far, I believe in 1971, Trinidad Distillers, so TDL, was the largest non-oil exporter in Trinidad and Tobago. So the biggest company, export company who didn't do oil, was selling bitters and rums. And it was only in 73 they started marketing their own rum under a brand. So before, the rums were all sold in bulk to bottlers or to other companies, or used in their bitters, but they weren't commercialized under their own brands as their own rums. In 2010, the domestic marketing position got bigger, new packagings, premiumization of their brands, and ever since 2010, they really started to commercialize the Angostura rums under the Angostura brand also, and it's getting a big brand and a big name. And even I believe the Angostura bitters are the global leader in bitters, the bitters they do in cocktails and stuff for preparing and doing the last touches on the cocktails. And the Angostura bitters are worldwide #1 in figures and #1 in turnovers and in what they're selling of it. I must say, in 2001, Caroni was still distilling, and then many casks of Caroni were lying down at TDL Distillery or at Angostura Distillery. And in my stock is a cask of 2001 Trinidad distilled at Angostura, of which I'm almost certain it's a Caroni, because the profile is so un-Angostura and so Trinidad-like that I'm going to let it taste to some specialists of Caroni, and I want to know their opinions, because I just think it's a Caroni. And some people confirm me the story that at a certain moment around 2001, the guys of TDL, so the guys of Trinidad Distillers Limited, didn't know exactly which casks were theirs and which casks were Caronis. So I'm very curious about the opinion of those two specialists who are going to taste it, But if they say it's Karuni, I'm going to bottle it maybe as Corona or Coroni or something. But I'll make a joke with it. And if people say, hey, why do you call it Coroni if it's not a Karuni? I say, oh, that's a typo. It should have been Angostura, but I've been mistyping. Will they believe me, you think?
Yeah, you look credible.
I'm afraid not.
You're going to meet the lawyer, I think.
I must say, I can understand why you can say it's Karuni, but Angostura flavor is really, you can really taste it's Angostura.
Exactly. But in this 2001, I haven't got Angostura. I have just Karuni in the aromas.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, I'll wait for the verdict of the specialists, and then I'll tell Yves about their verdict so he can maybe distribute the information to you guys. And if they say it's a Karuni, I can maybe say this is a Trinidad rum or an Angostura rum distilled at Karuni. Maybe we can say like that. Or I want to make a joke with it, but still do the price of an Angostura. I want to do some jokes then. But that may cost me. I might get sued big time then. Or I might get before tribunal or before court. So I have to be careful on that one as well. Trinidad. Any first opinions on this one?
Can you hear me, Bert?
Yeah.
Okay, it's really, really different. Not as rounded and sweet. It's really more, industrial, quite, like garage kind of aromas. And the taste also is a bit of smoke and some tropical fruit as well for me.
Grapefruit. It's very lemony.
There's quite a lot to discover then.
I like it. Very, very different, but very interesting.
I think it's great. I think it's
different indeed.
Whether it's Coroni or not, it's great. It's smoky, it's oily, it's burnt rubber, burnt oil. I mean, it's everything I'm expecting a rum to be. It's great.
Very balanced. It's very interesting. It has many interesting layers. It's not punch of sweetness, which is for me it's wonderful, and I really like it. It's a bit smoky, but it's not really that smoky.
Yeah.
It's really round rum, and I'm really enjoying this one.
I have to know this one is at 67 point. Have you got the bottle leaf?
It's only mentioning the name. So.
I'll leave it 67.9% by heart.
3.4. We have the bottle here.
Oh, sorry, I have the new one, and the new one is 67.5. You're having the first one, having the second one. Because I haven't got that one open anymore. I just opened one of the new ones. 64.4.
63.4.
63.4, yeah. Because 64.4, I had a joke with the 64.4. As I told you, everybody, all Rasta Morrises with the black labels are undiluted as well, always undiluted. And then I had the Nicaragua coming in at 64.4%. Then the Foursquare came in, Foursquare 2008 came in, the other one, 64.4%. And then there was one more coming in, I believe it was the Jamaican who came in, also 64.4%. And I swear to God, the chances of that happening, that 3 casks are the 1 digit, exactly the same ABV, that's almost non-existent. And then there was people asking me, hey, Bert, are you diluting to 64.4%? I said, come on, guys. Of course not, but all that kind of coincidences, it always happens to me. That's why I thought it was also one of the 64.4s. But the one you're having has been very popular on a tasting I did in Belgium, also in the eastern part of Belgium, in the French-speaking part of Belgium. And those guys were talking about it so highly and were so much recommending it. I believe all shops in the southern part of Belgium sold out in 1 week. after that one tasting you were doing. So Eve, I don't know if you have much left of this one. I don't think you had a lot even.
Not sure, not sure. I don't have much rum left, I have to say. I sold a lot of rum. It's out of stock.
He doesn't order enough from me.
Yeah.
He's always out of stock. Well, the one I'm having here is the new one, the most recent one, at 67.5%. And to be honest, I don't get that alcohol at all. And that's the comment I often get. The alcohol is not there. And didn't you taste that one when we had dinner together last time in Belgium?
We had whiskeys. We didn't have any rum, I think.
Okay. And the dinner before?
Which one? If tell us, which whiskeys did you have?
No, the whiskeys we had. We sold already the Ardmore, the
Holydram, Secret Speyside, Glenmorangie.
Yeah, the Tinninich, which I loved also, and after the lunch, I went back home and I had to sleep for an hour on the highway.
Did you?
Yeah, had to stop at the petrol station. I slept for an hour because it was a little bit too much. It was a heavy lunch, I would say.
Sorry.
And you told me I was not professional yet.
No, did I say that? Didn't I say too passionate or something? Not professional doesn't sound like me.
I'm not a professional yet because after 6 or 7 drams at lunch, I first started. I said it's a little bit too much already.
Only 6 or 7 drums
at lunch.
I believe we had more.
Anyway, I had a good sleep on the highway after.
Good sleep is interesting. It is important in life, Eve.
Yes.
Okay. Any further comments on this Trinidad? Do you think?
It's not exactly a comment on the rum itself. It's about a little turtle. Why did you have a little turtle on the label?
Thank you for noticing.
It's kind of like, it has to have something. It has to have like a small story or at least something. It's very cute.
Thank you for noticing. I'm very happy you're noticing. Well, as you know, Rasta Morris is my whiskey company. And in that company, I'm building up stocks and it goes quite quickly. So building up stocks and whiskey costs a huge amount of money. And once I was talking, I was in a bar with my best friend, the same guy who often selects casks with me, and we were talking about the rum. So I had just had, it was 2016. I visited that festival, and I had just bought my first 2 casks of rum, so the Foursquare and the Caroni. And I was talking to this friend. I said, I would like to go further in the rum and invest more in the rum and build up stocks in the rum. I said, why don't you do that? I said, because I haven't got the money for and building up stocks in whiskey and building up stocks in rum. So I say, for me, it's difficult now for investing a lot in rum. And my best friend himself, he has also 2 companies, and he is, let's say, financially more performant than I am, much more performant than I am. And he said, okay, you and I, we make a deal. Let's start a company. We do the ownership 50-50. You bring in the know-how, you bring in your relations, you bring in, you do all the work, you do the sales, buying, marketing, and I supply you all the capital you need for buying casks of rum. I said, okay, well, let's go for that. And that company is called The 3 Turtles. So if you see on the shield of the turtle, there's 3 T's standing, T. So that company is called The 3 Turtles. And the good thing of that is, if I'm tasting casks of whiskey and I'm getting 10 samples, and out of 10, 3 are good, They have to say, out of those three, oh, okay, let's take that one. I choose one. If I get 10 casks of rum samples and we taste them, and of those 10 casks, 5 are good, we say, okay, you know what? Make us an invoice of 5 casks, please. That's the difference. So the turtle is helping Rasta Morris for getting those nice things in a bottle.
Is he looking for more friends?
Sorry?
Is he looking for more friends? Your friend sounds like a good friend.
Well, in fact, he's more than a friend. He's my second brother. He's much more than a friend. We know each other for all our lives. And until we were 21 years old, we hated each other. We just simply didn't like each other at all. And a common friend of us was getting married. And he had put us one next to each other at the table. But he didn't know that we didn't like each other, that we disliked each other. And I had been walking along my table. I said, oh, shit, that guy is sitting next to me. And he had done the same. He also said, oh, no, shit, I have him sitting next to me. And that evening, we connected. We started talking. We started laughing. We started whatever. The wedding party was on Saturday. And the Tuesday after, we went to play squash together. And ever since, there hasn't been 1 week passing without at least having a phone to each other.
Nice story.
So I believe it's 20 years now that we're best friends, and in fact we're brothers of other mothers, brothers of different mothers, I think. Yeah. So that's the story behind the turtle. I hope that answers the question.
It's more than that. Thank you.
But there's very few people noticing the turtle. But my friend wanted to have something on it. He wanted something on the labels. Oops. He wanted something on the labels which would. He wanted a small hint to our common company on the labels, and that's why I put the little turtle there. I like it.
Yeah, but you know, now we have another question. What does the 3 turtles mean?
Sorry?
What does the 3 turtles mean? It's a following question, you know.
Yeah, well, the 3 turtles. I'm going to answer your question. The 3 turtles was in fact the name I wanted to give to my mom Brigitte. Because my mom Brigitte got a listing in the biggest retail chain in Belgium. And that rum was going to be named the 3 turtles.
Wow.
But right before listing, I was checking with my attorney. And I said, Bram, is there anybody who has protected the name the 3 turtles? I said, oh, you have to be careful because there's one very big company who has been protecting the name, so you can't use it or you can get into real trouble. And then the three turtles rum, we had a logo, we had everything was ready for the 3 turtles rum, but then we had to change everything to Maman Brigitte because of the reasons that we know. But then if we were starting the company and we were saying, how about the name? We said, okay, let's take it to 3 turtles because it hears well, it speaks easily, it's easy understandable. And then the 3 turtles became the name of the company instead of the name of our best-selling product. But initially, the 3 turtles should have been a rum.
Wow.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, good answer.
And also the 3 turtles, there was me, my friend, and the girl that has been educating us in rum. She was going to be the 3rd turtle, let's say. But then she moved to Canada and we didn't see her anymore. And that's why now the 3 turtles are only with 2.
It's always about the girl, you know.
Oh, yeah. Not in this case, because she left. So in this case, it's about 2 old ugly men. Okay, guys, any more? You see, I'm very honest and answering to everything you're asking me, right?
Yes,
Bert,
thank you.
I have
Thank
a question
you
for you, Bert.
Shoot.
So my question is, when I'm looking right now on the bottle and I see the label, I'm looking and say it's an eye patch of a pirate.
Sorry?
Is it the label, the black label, the wave on the bottle? It's almost look like an eye patch of a pirate. Is it a coincidence?
Oh,
Is it
never
real?
thought about that. Never thought about that.
And it's like really looking right now when I look.
Yeah, see what you mean.
It's smart because it's rum and pirates and rum. So is it maybe a coincidence or a fact?
You're just giving me an idea.
Well, pay me money later.
May I pay in rum?
Fine for me. Give me rum.
Hey, but this is an interesting one. I'm going to make those on festivals. Rasta Morris with the eye patch with the label.
Yes, really, yes.
I had never ever, I never saw it before, never thought of it, but now you're saying it exactly.
Bert, remember my name. My name is Lahav Lutvak. Remember my name. We're going to make a lot of money together.
Sorry, but I can read the name now, but you guys sometimes have difficult names and it'll be tricky to remember it. But next time...
Just remember Blade. Just like Wesley Snipes, but just with whiskey and not knives.
Look, guys, as soon as we'll be allowed to travel, I'll be coming to Israel for having a tasting with you in real life and having some drinks with you, having some fun and some stories with you, and pull my sleeve then, Lahav, and remember me of that of what I just told you.
Thanks, man.
We'll be counting on it.
And I appreciate the idea you gave me. I'm definitely going to do something with it.
Really, thank you, man. I really like it.
But I had never looked at it like that. But not now you're telling me.
My pleasure, man. Really, the last two was really perfect and really interesting rum. The Foursquare, for me right now, I just tried 5 Foursquare in the last month for the first time. And I really like it because it was really different. And I always really liked the English rum style. It was really perfect, well balanced. And right now, it's just me and my father here, and he's a little drunk. And he said, it was a really good one. You didn't feel the alcohol, but you feel it, the strong of the taste, and then you just feel it later. Really well balanced. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's the best comment I can get because balance is what I'm mainly looking for in all my selections. If it's whiskey or rum, balance is all you need because you don't need one flavor or one aroma dominating. Everything has to keep itself in the right balance, as you're telling me. And for me, that's the most crucial thing in all the selections, the word balance. But the fact that you're telling me, it really makes me a happy bunny.
I also want to tell, I really like the story you told about Coroni, about the way and the philosophy of yours, because this is something I'm looking and say like, yeah, I want to go to adventure like that.
What story was that? Because I told so many stories.
Oh, with the Coroni, the one that you told about, I will not buy a cask just by the name. I will buy a cask because I love it. I believe in it and it's in my philosophy.
Of course, also in whiskey. I never buy names. I never buy names. I buy whiskey and I buy rum. I buy the drink, not the name. Okay, final one. Biel, 6 years old. Distilled 2013, bottled 2019. Cask number RM 015. Once I had a French guy asking me, hey Bert, there's an error in your labeling. Oh, I said, what happened? Oh, he says we had RM07, RM008, and then it goes to RM0010, then it goes to RM10. What happened to 9? I said, 9 is still in my warehouse. Okay, he said. I said, all casks get their number when they're coming in, not when they're getting out. So he thought he had found a big error in my label numbering because he said, you have forgotten a cask. I said, no. It hasn't been bottled yet.
So what's with the C sharp, Bert?
Sorry?
The C sharp. C sharp before the RM015.
RM. It's RM, Rasta Morris 015, Rasta Morris 001.
C sharp, I see a C sharp as well.
Cask number.
Cask reference.
Okay.
Cask reference.
C sharp, I have very distant memories of C sharp. I now do Java, so C sharp is...
What is C sharp? I know only Turbo Pascal.
C sharp is a language.
No, I know only Turbo Pascal.
Turbo Pascal is
Turbo
new.
Pascal. That's
It's also a musical note.
Turbo Pascal.
Yeah. You know
That's
why
50 years
Java,
ago. I wasn't even
Why-
born.
why Java programmers wear glasses? Because they don't see sharp. Sorry.
Ah, okay, now I get it. Now I get it.
No, that was a daddy joke.
Now I get it. Sorry, guys.
I think the joke police is now just pulling over. So
Now, for me, keep them coming. I like jokes. I like having fun. The more jokes, the more I like it.
Be careful, we'll start with Fortran jokes. And only Barzik knows about it, I guess.
just don't do them in Hebrew, because my Hebrew is crap.
We'll fix that.
Okay, last one. Biel, 6 years old. So Biel, as I told you, is in fact my personal favorite, because Biel is the first distillery that really blew me away. And Biel for me has a style also which is very recognizable. I always smell a kind of a stable in Biel, an animal stable. I still haven't figured out which animal, but I will one day. Have been in that many stables yet.
Like Brora.
Brora is a sheep stable.
Yeah, also stable.
Yeah, but it's also stable with
the sheep are, you know, they are lower, so
so it's lower stable.
No, the sheep are lower, not the stable, you know, so you don't have to bend on your knees that much.
No, but I think you can have a lower stable for sheep than for an elephant, for example.
Yeah.
This is going the wrong way, guys. This is going the wrong way.
Definitely the wrong way.
This is going the wrong way. So Biel, in 1769, family Jean-Pierre Biel owns a coffee plantation with 32 farmers. In 1812, Jean-Pierre Biel dies and his son Nicolas takes over. Nicolas and his brother Maximilien started a sugar refinery instead of coffee. So Biel started being a coffee plantation and went only to sugar in 1826. In 1847, Nicolas Biel dies, and because to succession problems, the company goes to Espinat and Compagnie in 1857. In 1940, again, some changes in ownership, and in 1940, Biel produces 26,000 liters of rum at 50%. So 1940, we're talking about a long time ago. In 1955, Paul Rameau buys the property, so buys the whole sugar refinery with the sugarcane plantations. And in 1975, Dominique Thierry, nephew of Rameau, gets ownership. Dominique Thierry today is still the boss of Biel. So he's the boss, he owns the actions, but he is not managing director. The managing director is Jérôme Thierry. And if those days Biel produced, in 1940, Biel produced 26,000 liters of rum at 50%, today they produce 495,000 rums at 59%. But most of the Biel rums is produced to be drunk as white rum for the island and for the surrounding islands. So as I told you, Biel hasn't got a long tradition in cask maturation, and Biel hasn't got so Biel is mainly there for selling white rum to Marie-Galante and to the islands surrounding it. Allez. This is the distillery Biel. I told you about the sugarcane juice. Here they are pressing the sugarcane juice in the mill, and the juice comes out here, and the rest goes to the steam machine for heating the oven for making the steam. Biel is doing the fermentations outside, so their washbacks are literally outside. So if a bird flies over and it does its thing, the bird fishes are falling into the mash, or into the wash, as a matter of speaking. And for me, this outside fermentation is a big deal in making it the product it is, because you can never fully control a maturation outside. And fermentation is, in my opinion, the step in whiskey which is neglected a bit today, and which makes an order that all whiskey is getting more and more the same. And rum, those fermentations are longer, so This means also they get more esters and more elements that make the taste because of a longer fermentation. This is the column still at Biel. You see the columns, the two columns here. So as I told before, Biel hasn't got a long tradition in maturing rum in casks, and also the warehouses they're having, every free space at the distillery is filled with casks. So you're going into rooms or into whatever place, and everywhere you put your head in, they're putting casks in there, but they haven't got a big warehouse or a big racked warehouse where casks are resting. So it's really improvised. So everywhere they find some place for putting casks, they also put some. This was a tasting in the Biel offices we were doing. And this is the notorious vomit boat. So I don't know if anybody knows this boat or anybody has been traveling with this boat. It's a catamaran, and it's called, I forgot its name. It has a very typical name. It's not important. That boat.
Hydrofoil?
I don't know. I don't remember. That boat sails at about 80-90 kilometers an hour, so it goes really quickly. But also it goes like jig, 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 and it's very dangerous for getting sick. And I remember a story. I was with my best friend on that boat, so all the trips to the Caribbean we do together, and we go select the casks together. But we were on the boat, we were getting in with the first ones, and they were distributing around little paper bags if you get sick that you can use them. And I know myself, so sometimes I do get sick, so I ask for a little bag, which I put before me. And we were talking and talking, and people were coming into the boat. And they were so the boat was almost full. They were almost closing the boat. And all of a sudden, there was a girl coming in. She was beautiful, but not beautiful, but I mean really beautiful. And she was going to sit there so I could look right on her. So I had a great sight for the whole trip. And we started sailing. We had to sail for 2 hours, I think. And the boat was a bit wild, the water, and was a bit like. And we were observing the girl a bit from time to time because she was really beautiful. And then all of a sudden, I saw she was getting a bit uncozy. She was getting a bit she wasn't at ease anymore, and she started moving a bit, and I thought, oops, she's getting sick. And all of a sudden, I saw her starting a little. I took my little paper bag and I ran to the girl. I gave her my bag and went back to my place. 2 seconds later, the bag was filled. And then she was looking up, but this is maybe not very proper to say. And she was a bit dirty around her mouth. And then my best friend stood up, gave her his napkin as well. And then she was cleaning her mouth. And that's why I call it, we always call it the vomit boat under us. So if you're talking about the boat, it's the vomit boat because of that story.
Beautiful memory, Bert. We will cherish this.
Very graphical.
I hope you all have eaten. Okay, and then I also have to tell you about our first visit to Biel. So we arrived at Biel the first time, and Itzel had made us our appointment at, let's say, 11 o'clock. But with the boat, I've been looking at our schedule. I said, oh, Frederick, I said, we have only 1 hour to go to Biel, and then we have to quickly go back, or we'll miss our boat, and then we can't go back home, because if you miss the boat, we also miss the plane, because our planning was quite strict. So we had to, everything was well calculated to arrive from the boat, going to the plane, and then flying back home. And we explained him that we were there, so we had traveled all around the world to see him and to visit Biel, and we had only 45 minutes to stay there. That's why we went back 6 months later, and we took 3 days on the island. And I must say, the island is fantastic. I simply love it. You can eat very well, you can drink very well, you can have fun, you can enjoy yourself, but you have to be a bit picky on the hotels, because it's not always not always what we're used to, let's say. The Biel 6 years old. In Biel, the first Biel we did was 16 years old. So that was a cask we tasted there, of which we said, wow, this is just magnificent. Can we buy this? And then he said, no, you can buy 25 liters. I was like, okay. So 25 liters meant 36 bottles. It sold out in no time, but for me, that one is still the best Biel I ever tasted. Second one we did was the 2011. Was 8 years old. And this was the third one we did. And for me, this one really shows the Biel home character. This is really the Biel distillery character for me. So this is everything I'm looking for in a Biel is in this glass. So it has this fruitiness, it has this stable thing again. It has touches of cream butter. It's very complex, very elegant. Alcohol is a bit lower. Alcohol is where's my bottle? Alcohol is 55.7%. So it's not a bomb like the other ones. But what it is at the Biels, all the Biels of Rasta Morris are completely tropical maturation. So on all the Rasta Morris bottles, but below the word Rasta, you will see the history of the maturation. For example, the Barbados Foursquare, you see, has been aged in Barbados for 11 years in an ex-bourbon cask, shipped to Europe early 2017 for bottling in November 2019. On the Biel, you'll see tropical maturation at the distillery from April 2013 to July 2018. Continental maturation from August 18 to June 2019. It was bottled in June 2019. But some other ones come from the boat and go straight into the bottling hall. So the Biels have a complete tropical maturation, which makes a maturation go quicker in a way that you all know the angel share in whiskey. So angel share in whiskey is the part that evaporates every year and goes to the angels, as they say. So angel share in whiskey is about 2-3%. Angel share in the Caribbean is 10, 12, 13%. So the bigger your angel share, in fact, the quicker your maturation is going. So for example, our Biel 16, I'm sure at 20, it won't be as good anymore. Because that maturation goes that quick that it might go over the top and it might get some woodiness and it might get not the aromas you want anymore. So this tropical maturation for me does add value to the product and does add value to the rum. There's also casks of rum lying in Belgium, but you are a cask of Biel lying in Belgium, and I'm very curious to see differences between rums of Biels that had half their life in Belgium and half their life in the Caribbean. So far, all the ones we did have been tropical matured.
Bert, actually, all the bottles have history, but this one does not have any explanation about maturation. The first one.
Can you show me that one?
First BL. The first BL doesn't have anything on the explanation.
No.
Can you care to explain? Actually, it's
no, because it's only 2.5 years old, and it has been maturing the first 6 months, and the fooder at Marie-Galante at the distillery has been put to the refill to the ex-bourbon, then came to Belgium and had, in fact, I believe it had 1 year tropical and 1.5 year in Belgium.
But Nico, it's an empty bottle. You can't mature an empty bottle.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't notice it, but this is quite informative. It's very nice feature on the bottle.
It's a brilliant dram, Bert. It's really
so good. Can you read this?
No, because the background disrupts the visual.
Oh, sorry.
Can
you read now?
No, yes.
רומי שם שרה, הם המטפלת או שאתה? לא, קצת נעלם את זה.
So they're under the Rasta. If I know, if I have the information is there, and if it's not there, then it's that I don't know exactly myself, and I don't want to share half truths or things of which I'm not certain myself. So if I don't know completely, I don't write it.
It's
I
such
think
a
this
great
kind of
bottle,
transparency.
Bert.
Sorry.
Such a great bottle. What the difference between this one and the first bell we tasted?
It's something else, right?
Something else, completely different. Best prime of the evening, easy.
And now I should not. Is Eve listening? No, Eve is not. I'll mute Eve's loudspeaker so he doesn't hear me now. I will mute Eve's loudspeakers.
No.
Can I? Now, in September, sorry, in January or February, late January or early February, I'll be coming with 3 new products. There'll be. So this is a scoop, guys. Nobody else heard this before on a tasting. There will be Secret Space Side, 30 years old. There will be a Biel 2009, which I think is the second best Biel that ever had the Rasta Morris label, and of which I could buy the whole cask. And there will be a cognac that hasn't been defined yet completely, but that will be spectacular. So I think the January releases will be popular.
What can you tell us?
I see he was putting his earphone a bit deeper, I heard. So
what can you tell us about the Secret Space Side?
That's a Secret Space Side.
Starts
But I'm not allowed to disclose the distillery. It's
a Glen thingy?
Many are Glen thingy in Space Side, right? I remember a story about that one. I was at a festival and there was a guy coming to me. He said, Bert, hey, what's in your Secret Space Side? I said, it's in Macallan. Next guy comes to me, hey, Bert, your Secret Space Side, what's in it? I say, it's a Glenfarclas. Next guy comes to me, hey, Bert, what's in your Secret Space Side? I said, it's Caperdonic. Next guy comes to me, hey, Bert, what's in your Secret Space Side? I said, it's a Glen Grant. Next guy comes to me, so everybody got something else. Say it's a Glen Rottes, it's a Glen Grant, it's so I about every name, and all of a sudden they started talking to each other, and then I got into trouble again.
So it's an imperial. It's an imperial. Love the imperial.
Imperial is great, but it's not an imperial. Well, if it may help you, it's the same distillery as the Secret Space Side, 29 years old, I did last year. So I said nothing and I said everything. Eve, stay muted, Eve, stay muted. He was going to betray me.
We'll torture him later.
Oh, don't he? He's a good man. So the Biel, any comments or any further opinions on the Biel?
Excellent stuff. I think it's really a photo finish between this and the Trinidad for my favorites. Really different. What?
I didn't completely understand you.
I said it's like a photo finish between this and the Trinidad. They're both very, very, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very different, but very, very good.
I have to see. I'm ending with the one with the least alcohol. So this one is only 55%, but the other ones had much more. Again, you see, this is the most complex one. And that's why I always put the most complex whiskeys and the most complex rums in the end, because complexity always comes above. Complexity always shows its worth and comes floating above.
What I've learned here is that apparently I really like Biel. They're both my favorites here.
Welcome to the family. Well, Biel, you know, I'm totally hooked to Biel. I can't help it. But there's Biel 2009, which is coming out. You might keep an eye on that one.
I certainly will.
See, Eve is writing down his order already. You have to be careful. But Biel for me, but Biel, it's a small name. It's not a name like Foursquare or like Diamond or like Hamden or like Worthy Park or so. It's a small name, but what those guys are making, it's mind blowing. It's not cheap, but yeah. Quality needs to be paid, I'm afraid. And negotiating with Biel, that's what I already told you. They give prices. They're quite expensive always. But they say, okay, that's the price, and if it's good, it's okay, and if it's not good, well, it's okay as well, they say.
From what I've learned here, they're worth it.
I think so too. I think so too. I agree with you on that one. But for me, this Biel is really the home style of Biel. Our two Biel 2008s, for me, are a bit more fruity, have a bit more citrus, but this one is really, this is a Biel. So in Biel so far, we had one 2002, we had one 2006, we will have one 2009, we had 2 times 2011, and we had once 2013. And there will be more. I recently confirmed one cast from 2014 and one from 2015.
Can't wait.
I will definitely be following.
I wanted to keep them a bit longer in the Caribbean, but they want them out because I think all rooms at the distillery are full of casks and they need more place. I'm having the impression. Any more questions or opinions about the Biel? Or did I explain it well so far?
Thank you, Bert. It was fantastic. The last 3 drums were amazing. All of them, you know.
And still 3 different styles. It was 3 times a complete
Exactly.
different style.
All 3 different styles, and all of them were, as far as I'm concerned, they were fantastic.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Very good choices.
Oh, and I sometimes have people asking me, can you please warn me if there's new bottlings coming? Well, and then I always answer, guys, I can't send every one of you an email, but if you follow my Instagram, that's the place where the new bottlings are most quickly announced. So the new things are always announced first on Instagram.
You just make Eve, you just put Eve first on the waiting list, and we'll be there.
Eve knows he has a good position on my list. Because as a human, I like Eve a lot. And let's say...
We do too.
Rasta Morris is a one-man company, and let's say I tend to advertise, or is it English? I tend to give privileges to people I like.
Also, we have to say that I'm bugging you every week to know if you have new bottlings, so I don't give you much choice to hide anything. So
Eve, I was putting a romantic story, and now you're throwing it away.
Yeah, I just shared in the chat the link to your Instagram if somebody is interested.
That's very kind of you. But Instagram is the place where, this is a Biel 13 years old. So this is the one we did last year. And from this one, we had 40, we were allowed to buy 40 liters.
What are you showing us, Ori?
Bert's Instagram.
Oh, we are friends. It's okay.
Yeah.
So that's the place where the new bottlings are announced first or quickest. And if I post a new picture, I have never had later than 24 seconds. 24 seconds was the latest that I got a message from Eve afterwards.
Eve knows his job, so
But I must say, guys, your country is fascinating me. I really would like to come over and visit you and do a bar tour, see the bar scene, have fun, have drinks, have something to eat. I really, really want to visit your country.
You gotta come. You gotta come over. You gotta come over. We'll show you a great time. Trust
You're
me.
working on the vaccine now, Bert. So
Sorry?
We are working on the vaccine for the COVID now, so it will be soon.
I'm bottling vaccines all the time. I'm having vaccines all the time.
It's the safest country in the world. Somebody got 5 doses of vaccine today. So we're the safest.
Bert, don't worry, we got Bibi Netanyahu, we got vaccines, you can come. We sell them by the shots, no problem.
By the drum.
By the drum.
I can't wait to come over, guys. Really, I can't wait to come over.
We can't wait to host you and have a great time with you. We'll have
absolutely
a bar hopping scene with all of us. Just
yeah, because I'm reading Tel Aviv has such a great bar scene, and there's so many great bars in Tel Aviv, and great cocktail bars in Tel Aviv.
Yes,
unbelievable. Bars, restaurants, nightlife. It's insane.
And I'm too old for nightlife, guys. I'm too old for nightlife.
Well, you know,
day life is fine.
You're
as well.
never too old for nightlife.
Get
and that's the lady speaking.
Get a spare liver and come over.
But that word on that, guys. As soon as we can travel again, you'll be probably the first country I'll be coming to.
We're counting on it.
No, wait.
Okay, Bert, thank you very much.
Don't come with empty hands.
wait, guys. I made a final slide. It doesn't show. Where's my final slide? Oh, I made it. That's in my whiskey thing. I made a nice one. That's all folks from Bugs Bunny, but it's not in here. Okay, guys. So that was my story, and I hope you enjoyed the tasting. I hope you enjoyed my talking and my silly stories.
We did. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
much.
Actually, one question, Bert.
Yeah, shoot.
Last question. Are you planning to expand Rasta Morris to things like grappa, Calvados, stuff like that? Or
Calvados, the first samples are on their way.
Oh,
wow, that's interesting.
Where is it?
I had Armagnac.
Yes.
Cognac is decided. So cognac, I had the first. I bought the first cask.
Ooh.
And there's a second running. There's
okay.
a second coming. The funny thing is, that's typical me. I was talking. I had the producer on the phone. We were talking in French, talking about the product, talking. I confirmed the cask. I said, okay, that cask I'm going to bottle me for April. That's okay. We're going to do that. Shut down the phone. Going down the stairs of my office. I said, fuck, I forgot to ask a price. I bought the cask and I really forgot to ask the price. That's me. That's me. All that kind of shit all the time happens to me. But then I told the guy, I said, look, Stefan, this cask is from 1973. I think it's amazing. I said, I would like to bottle that one for April. I said, before, I need one more. I said, why? I said, because that cask is very good, but for opening, I want one which is not very good, but one which is stellar, which is absolutely fucking amazing. I said, this one's very good, but it's not absolutely fucking amazing. So, can you send me another sample? Okay, he says, I'm going to ask to my warehouse manager to look something for you. So more samples are on their way. And as for Calvados, last week I spoke to probably one of the best Calvados producers in France, in Normandy. And from there's 3 samples on their way for Belgium. So I'm expecting to do a Calvados before the summer.
Wow, I will definitely be following up on that one.
I don't see Eve writing, so it's troubling me.
Yeah, Eve
is just playing with his hands, he's not writing stuff. So
it's already ordered, Nikolai. It's already ordered. I've already...
you ordered the Armagnac, but the other ones haven't been bottled yet. They haven't been on the price list yet.
They are already ordered.
They're already ordered.
It gives us some spoilers for the future.
And what is this? You know, my whiskey brand is Rasta Morris. The rum brand is a Rasta Morris. And the brand for the French alcohols is Rasta Morris, but Maurice written M-A-U-R-I-C-E.
You should do Rasta Morris and Rasta Morris for Italian, whatever.
Well, Italian will be Basta Morris.
Bert,
Pasta Morris.
Bert, I have the best one for you.
Rasta Morris is very good.
If you will ever do Cha-Cha, if you ever do it, please call it Cha-Cha Morris.
No, Cha-Cha, I once, Cha-Cha is Georgian vodka matured on casks.
I know.
And the time I have never been in my life as drunk as after having an evening in Moscow with 2 friends, drinking shots of Cha-Cha all the time. The last thing I remember...
My Russian genes are rooting for you here.
Well, there was a girl starting to sing, and she had the pianist with her, and she started to sing in the restaurant we were having Cha-Cha in. And the last thing I remember was me singing a duet with that lady. And from later, all memories are a bit blurry.
If you keep your pants, it means everything is okay.
No one said about anything about pants, guys.
Sorry?
About pants.
But let's say there was a legendary evening. And I still remember I was so drunk and so drunk and so drunk. And the day after, I had a master class.
If
you I had a master class at the Classic Dram Festival in Moscow. And I believe they would, if people would have turned my lineup all around, I wouldn't have recognized my own whiskeys anymore. So I was speaking, but it was autopilot. I haven't been so hungover and so drunk in my whole life. So don't talk me about Cha-Cha. I do know Cha-Cha. Believe me, Laura. I do know Cha-Cha. You thought I wasn't going to know, right?
Rasta Morris, eye patch on the label of the rum.
Yeah. Let's do that with my first Cha-Cha bottling. The eye patch label.
Yes.
Lab will buy the old batch.
Word on that. Eve. Oh, he's not there anymore.
I'm here. I'm here.
Why did you move windows?
No, it's I'm still here.
You were down in the middle, and now you're there.
You just drunk too much.
Not yet. Okay, guys. Any more questions or any more remarks?
I think we can call it a night, Bert. It's been very enjoyable, and thank you very much again for your time, for your lovely rums. And
we'll probably see you with your next batch, I imagine.
I want to apologize again for my 11 minutes delay, guys.
You will pay for it.
Okay, we got it after it. So
shots in Tel Aviv. Don't worry.
I'll pay shots in Tel Aviv.
We'll make it up for us.
But you're frightening me a bit.
You should be scared.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. So if you have any questions, you can always contact me over Facebook or Instagram or over Eve or whatever. Don't hesitate to drop me a line or don't hesitate to contact me. I'm always very happy to answer questions or to answer whatever you want, if it stays polite.
I promise that.
Israelis are known for politeness.
But you have Russian roots. You just told me.
Yes, I do. Careful there.
It was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke.
It was received as one. Don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
everyone.
And I promise you we'll meet in Israel in 2021 if we can start to travel again.
Amen to that.
Word on that. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.